welcome to another session of Neighbors and Friends. We're going to talk about some civil rights cases today. Air Force nurse serves by fighting back. Margaret Witt's idea of playtime was a bit unusual for a girl growing up in the early 70s. Dressed in a military uniform, she bandaged wounded soldier playmates, just like her heroines, Florence Nightingale and Clara Barton, had actually done in wartime. They had that little something extra, and I wanted to be like them, Witt said recently in explaining why she joined the Air Force 22 years ago. I wanted to be all I could be, and I wanted to have not a job, but an adventure, a service. In her real-life job as a military flight nurse, Witt quickly proved to be an extraordinarily talented leader. The Air Force featured her in recruitment materials for more than a decade. But in 2004, Major Witt was told she was being investigated over an allegation that she had been in a committed relationship with a civilian woman. The investigation led to her discharge, but also to a new opportunity to serve our country by fighting the Don't Ask, Don't Tell gay ban. She won a groundbreaking ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that the military can't keep doing assembly line discharges. Instead, it must prove that the targeted gay service member, specifically Witt, actually undermines morale or unit cohesion. The high-stakes case is headed toward what could be a dramatic moment. The military, represented by the Justice Department, must soon decide whether to ask the Supreme Court to step in. If the top court, which has long ducked gays in the military cases, doesn't get involved, the next step will be a federal district court trial in which the military must prove that Witt's lesbianism, her lesbian relationship, hurt military readiness. It is the first time that the military has been told you have to show cause as to why it is that Major Witt's presence in the military will undermine morale and discipline in such a way that it will do harm to the military. And we know that they can't do that. Retired Colonel Marguerite Kammermeyer, another gay pathbreaker, declared at a recent dinner where Witt was being honored. Now, if you don't know the story of Major Kammermeyer, I had the privilege to meet her one time at a conference. If you don't know her story, Google her, or get the movie made about her. Witt went to great lengths to keep her military colleagues from knowing she was gay. She and her then partner lived across the state of Washington from her base. I want to stop reading the article for just a minute. Witt and her then partner. What's the government got doing messing around with a relationship? I can't help but think that this public position the military put Major Witt in would have been the cause of the breakup. Pretty sad indeed. Judging from comments from Air Force personnel who served alongside Witt, they wouldn't have cared anyway. In legal documents, They said that what hurt morale was seeing this woman get booted out. Welcome to another episode of Neighbors and Friends. We're filming this just days after the monumental Iowa Supreme Court decision, which allows lesbian couples and gay couples to have marriage and honor their families, celebrate the same thing that everybody's brothers and sisters want to celebrate. The fact they find someone to love and who loves them. We have with us Jen BarbouRoske and Dawn BarbouRoske.
Yes.
And your girls, Bree.
McKinley BarbouRoske and my little sister Brianna BarbouRoske.
Okay. So we would like to know, I suppose, first of all, where you women grew up and how you met.
Well, I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. I grew up in Wheaton, Illinois. My family has since moved out of the area and are kind of in different places around the country and actually have some family local. Dawn grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. Actually, you were born, I guess, in Pennsylvania, but you grew up in Jacksonville.
Yes, my father was in the military, so we moved a little bit. But then I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and went to college in North Carolina. And from there, I got a job out at Grinnell College, and that is where Jen and I met. She was living there, and I was working there, and we met playing softball, actually. And,
Traditional.
So that was 18 and a half years ago. So we're a little different now, but
Right.
still incredibly in love.
Okay. I can see that. So 18 and a half years and 2 children later, here we are.
Here we are. What a
Okay.
fabulous time.
Right. And the girls,
I was born in Iowa.
that's good.
All right.
And I
Yes.
was born in California.
You were?
Yep.
You were working in California or?
We moved around some too. We met in Grinnell, Iowa. We moved to Iowa City. I finished my nursing degree here, and Dawn went to the University for Theater and got her Master's of Fine Arts there. And then we ended up moving to Pennsylvania for a while. We lived out in Pennsylvania for,
About a year.
I don't even know if it was that long. Was it about a year?
Pennsylvania?
That was before you.
Oh.
And then we moved from there to Berkeley, California. Well, actually to Oakland, California. And we lived in Oakland for a couple of years, and then we had McKinley. So she was born actually in Berkeley. She's a
Okay.
Berkeley baby.
We lived out there for about 7 years. So working out there, and
I lived in
then
Berkeley.
We started out in
Right.
Oakland and then moved to Berkeley.
Oh.
and then oh, excuse me. And I guess when Kinley was 3, we decided to move back to Iowa City because well, Jen really loves it here. And I've been dragging her around the country with my jobs, and it's a really great place to raise a family, and it was nice to do before McKinley started school, so that we came, and we still had some friends that lived here from when we had lived here before, so they encouraged us as well to move back, and gosh, now it's been
She's
Eight
11 now.
years or so.
Yeah.
About 8
that we've lived back here in Iowa City, so.
So Don, you were working in theater when you were in California?
Yes, I had a previous career in technical theater, so I used to teach undergraduates how to build scenery and do rigging and lighting, and so that seems like worlds away now, but but I got injured, and so I switched jobs, and so I really enjoyed the teaching part of it, so
She became an
we
ELP
talked about it,
teacher.
so now I'm an elementary teacher, so
ELP,
I teach the ELP
Extended Learning Program.
part of it, yes. So I have kindergartners through 6th graders, so it's a lot of fun.
Okay, McKinley wants to tell us what
Yes.
the ELP. What does ELP stand for?
Extended Learning Program.
Uh-huh. And you're working with the elementary people?
Hmm
Uh-huh.
Kindergartners up through sixth graders.
Okay. But what, in other more expanded definition, what does
It's the gifted program of the school district.
Okay, so that's extended.
Yes,
Okay.
it's extended beyond the classroom curriculum.
Uh-huh. To keep the bright students busy.
Yes, to keep getting them brighter, yes.
I appreciate that because my children needed some of that. My oldest son tested out as a sophomore level in English when he was, I think, a third grader.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so he needed something to challenge him, and it
Sure.
didn't happen.
Oh,
Didn't happen. So I'm glad to have you here in Iowa City.
well, thank you.
Since we moved back to Iowa City, I've been working at the hospital. I love it there. I've been a nurse, I don't even know. I've been a nurse since before McKinley was born, so probably close to 15 years. And it's just a great place to be. It's a good environment.
Okay. And it is a family, and thanks to the Iowa Supreme Court, you are now or you will be.
We will be, right. There's the 21-day waiting period, so on April 24th, it's our understanding that they can start issuing marriage license. There's a 3-day waiting period. In extenuating circumstances, or I'm not even sure if you'll even need extenuating circumstances with when that day comes, to bypass that 3-day waiting period. We're hoping to actually get it done that day, but it's gonna be pending whatever, we can accomplish that day.
It'll be exciting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But we'd like to see if we can have that 3 days waived.
Uh-huh.
I think after 18 years, I don't know that I really need 3 days to think about it. We're pretty confident that 3 days, nothing's gonna change. So that's our hope.
Anybody can see you're pretty much a family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very
Okay.
lucky family too.
McKinley, I heard you speak at a program out at the Coralville Public Library. Do you have some comments that you'd like to make about family?
Well, this family, even if the judges declared that we couldn't get married, we'd still be a big happy family. We love each other.
All right.
But they did say that we could.
Yeah.
They all realized, well, of course.
And well, if they said yes, which they did, we throw a giant party.
We
and
are.
we did.
We're starting to plan one, yes.
I understand that the program at the Coralville Library was a session planned by a group called Collage,
Actually, it was planned by One Iowa.
One Iowa.
Mhm. Collage is Children of Gays and Lesbians Everywhere, I think is what it stands for. And they weren't actually represented.
They were
represented
supported there, though.
But they were supportive
yes.
of everything. They were supportive of this movement.
You
So.
need to-
And they had some
sorry,
material
but you
there
need to
that
leave
night.
this down,
Yes,
okay?
they did.
Thank
They
you.
did.
Over
To
there.
my
Leave it
knowledge, I
alone.
don't think there's a collage
Thanks.
group in Iowa City. There could be.
I don't know. So we were talking about Collage,
Mhm.
which is for the children of lesbians and gays everywhere.
Right. We're hoping when McKinley gets a little bit older and Bree gets mostly McKinley because she is older at this point, but in a couple of years she may want to start a collage group. But it takes a certain amount of organization from the kids' part. It's not the parents' organization. So when she gets a little bit older, we'll
Right.
support her if she wants to make that kind of effort. And it is really an amazing organization. When we lived in California, Collage was a very active part of the community.
Right.
So, and it just provides a support network for kids, and so that other kids understand exactly,
Right.
what their lives are like, and it's a peer group.
Yeah, a peer group
Mhm.
for kids with a slightly different kind of family.
Mm-hmm.
We can put that website on, And if there are any other couples out there, um, gay men or lesbians with children who would like to hook up with collage,
Mm-hmm.
or would like their children to have a chance to hook up, they could either contact me here
Mhm.
at the studio, or
Right,
and I
or
could
go to the website, and I'm sure there's
right,
yeah, a lot of information out there.
and then I could pass on their information to you folks, because and there are some older kids.
Mm-hmm.
I met a high school age boy who would be a good start for a program like that.
Wonderful.
And I want to have more lesbians and gays on.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some on already, but you're the first couple with children.
Ah, okay.
And we're, like I said at the start, we're filming this just days after the Supreme Court decision, which seemed to me, as a grammar teacher myself, and having studied some logic at college, such a carefully worded document,
Mm-hmm.
that this is a civil right, R-I-G-H-T, and whether or not clergy people want to offer a wedding afterwards, that's up to them.
Right.
Definitely.
Because the religious rights, R-I-T-E-S,
Mm-hmm.
are something distinct from the civil right.
Mm-hmm.
And so no clergyman can complain, the law's going to make me give those gay people a wedding.
Right.
Many of the clergy that I know would be happy to give gay people a wedding, and have in the past given a ceremony for the couples within their faith group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Both, I had a congregational pastor on, and I had the rabbi on, and both say it's a civil right, and they're happy to give the religious ceremony. So,
Wonderful.
do you have any other comments about the day of the handing down the document, the court ruling? Or?
It was such an exciting, it still is such an exciting time with that, and with I think even the change in the girls. I mean, the fact that it's now legal and it's recognized, and that gives more importance and status to the relationship. And for them, I mean, McKinley said, now my parents can be legally married just like my friends.
Right.
And, whereas we've always talked about and stressed that we've been married in our hearts for over 18 years, and we had talked about either way, we're still family. But now it really does give, I think it really is a huge step in the right direction for creating a far better world for our kids, and one that all people are being respected,
Right.
and really the civil rights, continuing that road of civil rights through our country. The majority isn't always right in their ideas,
Right.
and that's why we go to the court and to the Constitution, and I think it's unprecedented that it was unanimous.
Yes, extremely impressive.
Yes, so it gives me great confidence as well that we're going to be able to continue this, and it's not going to be some backlash that already in the papers it started, where there's people wanting to change the ruling, but they'll. I think it just, like you said, it's a civil rights issue.
Yes.
And it boils down to that. Whether you agree or don't agree, I mean, we're allowed to have our opinions in that matter, but ultimately it is a civil right.
And I think as people realize, once this takes place on the 24th, and we start obtaining license, legal marriage, the world's not going to collapse.
Right.
It potentially can boost our economy here in Iowa, and it's just more loving, stable families. It's, we're good citizens. We do good things.
Well, yes, I remember when I first heard you speak a time, you made a point of saying how disappointed McKinley was.
Mhm.
Came home from school, all her kids talk about their parents, and McKinley was assuming all parents are married.
Mhm.
Came home and learned that her parents couldn't be at that time,
Mhm.
and she was
only about 4 years old at the time, and no one sets out to explain to their child, oh, by the way, your parents are not legally married. It just, it didn't ever come up in conversation, and we didn't think to say that. We just always thought she knew, and she was shocked.
We were a family.
Yeah. And so, at that point, we kind of downplayed that aspect. We were a committed couple that were married in our hearts, and that wasn't going to change. And she was crushed. I think it was a very difficult time for her to then try and figure it out. And then we had to kind of go back in and patch that up and say, but no, it's okay. Even though we don't have a piece of paper, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be together. And next year, we'll sit down at the breakfast table and have breakfast. We'll still be a family. And after that, and after that. And that's okay.
Right.
And, we would like to get legally married. And given that opportunity, absolutely. But we will still be a family. And those aren't conversations that just roll off the tongue. It was a challenge to come up with that. But, it's an incredible feeling to be able to, do this now and actually have this right. And, the kids are busy with their ideas, and, Bree's figured out we need 3 cakes, and, the important details are being hammered out now, so.
We're going to have so many people, we need 3 cakes.
Yes, and the insulin offerings, I don't know.
So they're very excited. And
So she's planning the ceremony for you.
They definitely both have their own ideas. And the thing is they're not in agreement with each other on a whole lot of things. Some negotiations going to happen.
It's fun, though. And it'll be a fabulous Pride this June. A lot of celebrating.
A lot of celebrating in June
Yes,
Pride.
yes.
Right.
Yeah. And they already have a peer group, too, with, we have a group called Proud Families that, and so it's set up so that they do have a peer group. And they play, and the kids play, and then the adults get to just kind of hang out and chat. And that's been really nice, and I think...
We've done that for about, since we've been in Iowa, 8 years now.
Yeah.
So once a month we all get together and the kids play, and so they've grown up together, which has been nice.
Right. So they see other families like their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So.
I've, in the lengthy reading I've done, there are some places where they have a campground.
Camp Lavender Hill.
Is
Up
one
in,
of them.
Is
Oh,
it
so
one
they
in
have one here
California?
in Iowa?
We don't.
No, that's
a
one
big
in
dream.
California.
Yeah.
We'd love to do something like that.
So
but-
that's one of the things that will come along with more contact and the groups growing bigger and
Mm-hmm. Well, we've done we do a camp out every year, so it's not like a sleepaway camp like one of those would be, but we try and do things like, we do a camp out every year. We go to the apple orchard as a group every year, and what else? We've done other things,
Went to Wasserbon together,
Yeah.
and just, ways to meet up and have the kids have their peers, and it's fun for us too, because we get to hang out with each other, and we wouldn't always meet up with one another in our daily lives, because we have varying professions, but
right.
so it's a nice way to connect.
Some people are nurses, some are teachers, some are university professors, some are
some
clerks,
physicians.
and you will wear
Yep.
duty operators, chauffeurs, taxi drivers.
Mhm. Absolutely. We come from all walks of life, and you know, and our kids play the same games. You know.
When Nell and I came home from the celebration Friday on the on the
Mhm.
Pentecost, lo and behold, our taxi driver was a lesbian.
Oh, neat.
Um, we didn't call up the company and demand a lesbian driver.
I bet she was happy to go to the rally to pick somebody up.
yeah.
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 And,
Because we are everywhere.
Right.
I mean, we're just people, and we're community members, and you know,
right.
we're all trying to make our world a better place. So,
Mhm.
and this ruling certainly does that.
In
Does that make
Vermont, it was approved
Today.
in Vermont this afternoon.
Right.
So, yet another state. It's
And the legislative powers overruled the governor's veto.
Yes.
So that's exciting news. So now there's 4 straight states you'll be able to get married in.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think to myself, what a pity that some clergy people are having trouble with realizing we're born the same as anybody else. We're not that much different. We love and want to be loved. We have love to give, and we want companionship. And I remember a bishop spoke out saying, oh, this was terribly wrong. But I know enough history to know that the Catholic Church a few centuries ago, gave house arrest to a scientist who said, you know, the earth is not the center of the universe. The earth goes around the sun. Oh, that can't be true. And they gave him house arrest. Someday they'll wake up and realize that what they've been saying against gays and lesbians is not true either.
right, right.
And I am continuing to work for civil rights and religious rights. And whether gay couples are so hurt and fed up with the treatment they've had from religious groups that they don't want to bother with that, I know many do. And I continue to work on both levels.
Excellent.
And especially happy that you'll have the civil right beginning the end of April.
Us too.
Yes.
Us too, yes.
So thank you for being with us, Jen and Dawn.
Thank you,
And we're
Elsie.
glad to see you children.
Thank
They're
you.
a delight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, our pleasure.
Thanks a lot.